Hi, this is Mayor Sandy Roberson. I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsors of the Mayor's Brief. Tharrington's Auto Works and Collision Center, Rocky Mount Radiator, and Davenport Auto Park. You know, I am grateful to each of them for their support of this program. The challenge and what we got to try to figure out is, you know, so the jobs come here, but does the kid who lives on Branch Street, does he have the skill set to be able to participate? And if he doesn't participate, I'm just picking on Branch Street because my grandmother used to live there.
Yeah.
But does he have the skills to be able to participate, or is the world going to pass him by? Yeah. And that's what I'm more, how do we catch that guy or girl and equip them to be able to participate in these jobs coming in? Because at the end of the day, if we haven't done that, we're not really helping a lot of folks.
Yeah, and I think that's where peacemakers, the OICs, the other ones
No
come
question.
in place, you know, providing these programmings or these classes. And, you know, I think it has to be more of them, especially, you know, some kids. I'll be working with peacemakers also.
Sure.
So I love the fact that he's trying to reach out to the neighborhood. Okay,
Sure.
let's get these ones here trained. They can walk to the peacemakers. They can walk, okay, OICs there, they can walk there. They can walk to other places so they can
Right.
get those trainings. So when these jobs come, they can be, you know, on them.
And that's a big deal. I mean, you know, so yeah, Richard Gerganis and I grew up together. He's probably shared that with you. I know he's moved downtown.
Yeah.
And you're living downtown. He's like, man, I got
actually just moved. He just moved. He said that they
He left?
He
Okay.
said they wouldn't sell him. He moved just Saturday. He was there we talked every morning.
Abu Dhabi.
He's a great.
So he was saying, I met Moe, and I said, well, I've had the pleasure of knowing Moe for a couple of years now. And he was just excited about downtown, the whole piece and part. So you tell me, you know more about what's going on downtown than anybody else. You got the business here, you're living here. So what are you seeing happening? I'm seeing some stuff moving.
I just like the traffic, you know, and to me, it's kind of sad that when I came home, retired from overseas, when I came home, it's like, downtown is nothing.
Right.
You know, you might see 3 people. So, you know, I will always do my morning run downtown.
Sure.
I will always just see like potential.
Yeah.
So now when I'm doing my morning run, I see people working,
Right.
cars.
Yeah.
So it's starting to get traffic. Now that I potentially believe that, you know, in the future, I want to see hundreds of people just walking downtown. Okay, it's lunchtime, people walking, people doing this.
Sure.
They're walking their dogs, it's business here, it's business there. You know, because downtown in every other city is the main attraction.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's
Well, yeah, and you've been in Europe for how many years? 10 years playing
years,
basketball.
yeah.
And everything there is all about the city center. Everything. I mean, it hadn't changed hundreds of years.
Yeah, so if we can get that here, and I see, you know, I think the main thing is I'm living. You know,
Yeah.
now you see people building apartments downtown and living downtown. I think that'll get traffic.
So has Troy gotten some folks to move in yet, or has he got the COs yet, or is he?
I think he's
we're on the cusp.
Yeah, he's on the verge of. I think he told me last time I spoke with him a couple more months. I think maybe a month, beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be huge.
Well, I'm hoping. I mean, I got my fingers crossed. I'm pulling forward the project. I'd like to see some market rate apartments.
And
open up down here. So that could be that Sentinel project that kind of makes it real. You know what I'm saying?
You know, a lot of people don't want a yard. They don't want this. They love the downtown feel. And you know, that was me. I lived in downtown when I was overseas. So it's like, okay, I want to stay downtown.
What led you to really thinking about opening up a restaurant in downtown Rocky Mount? I mean,
I was first in. It was a friend, and I was overseas. So he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, man, it's an opportunity." We was in Castalia first.
Okay.
So it was more of one of those things. Like, okay,
so you started Castalia?
Yeah, I started in Castalia. Well, it wasn't. It was an investment.
Sure. Okay, so, right. I understand. You were playing ball. That was your job. That's what you were doing.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, man, here you go. You know, let's start up something. So I got my dad involved, you know, being that I needed somebody that I had to watch when I was overseas. And my family loves to cook. So after that, you know, all else fails, my uncle came into the picture and he found the building downtown.
Okay.
And he was like, you know, nephew, you know, this is a good thing we should do. And, you know, we have something for the family and, you know, have something from generation to generation is all would be here. And I was like, let's go for it. So we all just, you know, decided, you know, it was a good idea and something to do. And that's what happened.
Man, that's awesome. So Good move, bad move. I'm sure it's like everything else, got ups and downs.
Ups and downs. I know we went into it with no idea about how to run a restaurant.
Okay.
Me personally, I don't really want to run a restaurant still to this day. It's more, I'm a community person. I want to do stuff with the youth and stuff like that. But it's just something I think that, if we get the ball rolling, I think it's something great. We're not losing, but we're not winning. But that's the perfect thing. But it's kind of difficult being downtown. After 5
and then you got COVID and right?
So after 5 o'clock, being that I live downtown also, you might see 5 cars ride past, because it's nothing to attract them to a downtown area. So
it was funny because I bought this building here, and I'm in downtown now, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, the crime." I'm like, "Guys, nobody lives downtown to commit a crime." But that's also a problem, right? If you're trying to run a restaurant or bistro or a bar, you got a cool bar in the back of that restaurant.
Absolutely.
And I'm just never there at a time where I could feel like I can imbibe. Noon starts to look a little funny.
I hate. People also say that about, man, it's crime rate. But we've been there 3 years. I haven't had one problem with crime. I haven't seen nothing. And for the police department is walking distance. So it's just a stereotype. I think that people have the tag on it, but I had absolutely.
But that's why we got to talk about it.
It's zero problems downtown. You might see people walking and stuff, but it's no problems. The city did a great job of lighting Main Street up and lighting Church Street up. So personally, and I've been there, I'm always there, I have no problems.
I think the only thing I've ever heard of is maybe a little graffiti here and there, but I'm not sure that that's a downtown issue more than anywhere else in city, right?
Right.
So, but you mentioned that you really are liking to be an outreach guy, right? So I know you've got your foundation, Motivation, which is a cool name. I took you forever to come up with it, I'm sure.
Forever.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, it was just something I always told myself growing up. I grew up in the South Rocky Mount area, and I'm sure a lot of people knew. And I was one of those kids that was running around, just didn't have no hope or nothing. I just was like, all right, I don't know what I want to do out of life with my life. So basketball really saved me. So I always told myself, if I went further in basketball, I'm going to come home and try to reach so many people, because I'm a likable. Sports make you likable. Sure. High school, I was a star basketball player, college star basketball player.
Well, I don't know. I've talked to a couple guys that were playing with you in the day. I'm not going to mention one place with the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, my God.
He said it was a great rivalry, great day in time.
Absolutely. So it's more when you play a sport here, and Rocky Mount does a great job. Being from Rocky Mount, they do a great job. The community does a great job trying to take care of the athletes. Right. They want to see you do good. They don't want to see you get in trouble. So there was one of those things that happened. So, I went off to school, and, I had a couple games on TV, and I was doing my thing, and it was just, I always shouted out Rocky Mount. I had an ESPN episode, and where you from Rocky Mount, North Carolina?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things I always wanted to rep for Rocky Mount, because I was, we're in a place where our population is 50, 60,000 people, and it's very rare that a person goes off sports-wise, and do something and represent the city. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Especially from Rocky Mount. You have Tarboro, you have people from other places, but actually Rocky Mount is not many that came, that willing to come back home and help.
Come back home is the key.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are from here.
Yeah.
But come back home and participate and become part of the fabric of the community is something that is more unique. Yeah,
so that's one of those things growing up. I just say, if I ever get a point in life when I can help and, reach a lot of people, I'm going to do whatever I have to do, to be that voice and, be that person, that role model to the youth and other people, to showing them, different things.
Well, I know that I've had the privilege and opportunity to be part of at least some of the motivational basketball camps, and I know that you brought in other star athletes and to bring kids in. Todd Gurley, I believe, was one, and others. And what a great outreach. I mean, when I was there, the gym was just popping with kids and with parents. So now we're living in a post-COVID world. So, I really saw what you were doing. I saw the heart that you had. I thought, man, what a great job you're doing. So what does that look like in this COVID world?
I did a book bag giveaway. It was more of a drive-through. It's not the same, but you're still doing,
you're touching folks.
Yeah, you're touching folks. So it's more of, it's hurtful to me, being that, the COVID is messing up a lot of things. But again, it's about being safe. You don't want to, you don't want to jeopardize anything trying to give back. So it's kind of tough still, but we're gonna make it work still until this thing is over. We're gonna try to do what we can do to social distance on different events and stuff like that, and still, have to see the smiles on the kids' faces. That's always the goal, and that's the reason I started the Motivation Foundation, to be giving back and doing community work, and helping these unprivileged kids, really, have some things for them to do.
Joe Gray, he said, I'm looking for the young man named Moe Deloach. I said, well, I know Moe. Well, how do I get a hold of him? I said, just go to Moe D's at lunchtime, and he'll be the big, tall fella.
I'm good.
Did he come by again?
He came.
He's a great guy. I really enjoyed meeting him, and I thought it was quite a testament to you that he was looking out for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So what else is going on, man? What am I missing here that we ought to talk about and share with folks? I mean, you've got a great story, but I think everybody knows your story.
Yeah, they pretty much. Yeah. It's just more of me just trying to get more. People say I do a lot, but I don't feel like I'm doing enough.
Sure.
So it's, just figuring out what we can do, what I can do more to help the city, come together.
Right.
That's, I believe, my calling and my job is, just to reach out to people and let them know what's happening in the city, and, also speaking for different other people, like, know what their problems are. I can give a couple people phone calls like, hey, man, this is what we need, and this is what people are looking for, and this is the problems they have. And, I think people really listen because, like I said, I mean totally good, and it's no hidden agendas. I just want to help the city. I did 10 years overseas. My resume is pretty good, but I decided to come back here to Rocky Mount.
Oh, no. And you could have easily gone into a PR job somewhere, whether like selling insurance or whatever, but that's not the path you've chosen.
Yeah, and it's not me. Me is, being, I like to dress like this, sweats and a hoodie, and walk around and shake kids' hands and play with them in the parks and do different stuff like that. And, that's the goal for me coming back home, was just, I had a goal when I was overseas, and my goal was I'm going to go back home and see if I can help change this place. This is a wonderful place, and people older than me, they did a great job of setting the pathways for us. But now it's time for the younger generation to step up and fill in the shoes. When the baton is passed, we're going to be ready
and widen the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one thing to start a path, but nothing wrong with making it wider so that more people can travel on it.
Absolutely, I'm 100% with that.
Well, look, man, the music's ready to run out on us here. So anything else that you feel like we ought to share with the group? And
just come on, check Moe D's out all
go.
the time. Support downtown businesses, and just support Rocky Mountain One. We all come together, and we're going to get this thing done to turn this whole city around to the right way, the way it's supposed to be.
Amen. And I'll give you a testimony, because Moe D's is just fantastic food. Now, not always good for my waistline, but that's how you know it's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you coming.
No problem. No problem.
And if you're the mayor of Rocky Mount, it just fits, right?
You have to. It does just fit.
So, but looking at the folks engaged, I'm kind of excited in the various studios, everything from furniture making to painting. I mean, it's just really pretty cool. So, how'd you find the collection of those folks to even do that?
It was very hard.
Yeah, seriously, how'd you do it?
We had to do our research, because initially, we wanted a building for Willow Tree.
Right.
And Willow Tree alone, especially starting a business from the ground up, you can't afford, utilities, bank loans, property tax, all of that stuff. So kind of had to create a business to have my dream business.
Right.
And thankfully, the Vitiers, had this concept of an art center. And it was based off of the torpedo factory in Alexandria, Virginia.
Right, sure.
And Michael and I went up there, we had to check that out. And it was pretty much the same concept, more so studio artists, and they rent the space and they sell out of there. They can close up the door. It's like a little shop. But then we implemented gallery artists. We kind of did that because we thought that's what we should do.
Right.
But apparently a lot of places like art centers don't have the separation. It's mainly like you come in and it's studio artists and that's it. There's no like gallery artists, or it's one or the other.
Okay, I got you. So that tends to be the model that you're seeing out there, right? It's either my studio, my stuff, or
yes, or it's gallery.
I've done it in my shop, and now it's going to be displayed at the gallery, and you're the curator, and you're going to promote or whatever.
Exactly,
Well, I think you found the
commissioned
balance,
artwork.
though.
We have, and it's definitely been a journey. But we've learned a lot, and we're at the point to where, I mean, you always should be humble about things, because if you're not, there's that one thing that will happen that will humble you.
So anyway, we go a long way. So how did you end up, loving art, and how did you end up in this art center, and
Really wanted to open a yoga studio. So that's whenever we started looking for places downtown specifically, because when I was brought here, I mean, they drove me downtown, my in-laws, and it's beautiful.
It is.
Like, so much potential. And I remember how Bristol was and the revitalization of Bristol and how it is now. And Bristol is the downtown State Street line is one side's Tennessee, the other side is Virginia. So it's kind of cool. Same concept with the counties.
Right.
But long story short, we happened about the Bel Air Art Center building, and the Vitiers were selling it. Hillary was, and there were already artists in there. We opened for about 2 months because it was November, December, the busiest times. So we did open for a little bit, and then we shut down for a year, and we did construction, completely smashed out everything downstairs, worked with Milan Mehta, which is our, Milan Mehta designed it.
Okay, the architecture.
The architect.
That's right, the design.
Milan Mehta was our architect. So he was magical, put all of our different thoughts that we piled together and organized it.
It's fun to see that
fabulous.
when it comes together. Can I do this? Can I do that?
Exactly.
And then you have somebody who can somehow take that jumble of mess and just kind of.
Oh my gosh.
Just what you want.
It's like my perfectionist side, it satisfied it so well. So we worked with him, we had it down, and then we opened February of 2019.
Okay.
So we're approaching our celebrating our 2-year.
Got it. And you've done so much more than that, though, which is really kind of cool. So I want to hear that. So you have Willow Tree. You, as I understand it, are adding some brewery component to your business. And
Oh, sorry, before I get into that, I forgot to mention why we moved here.
Okay, yeah.
So we moved here, we moved here because of Michael's job. He's a veterinarian, fourth generation vet practice with Hicks Animal Clinic. So we moved here for him to take over his dad's position, and they're actually celebrating their 100-year anniversary this year.
Is that right? Now, I knew I'd been here all my life, but I'm not 100 yet, so that's fantastic, really.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of him, watching him grow the business, and he is quite an inspiration.
What you've done, at least outside looking in, is really creating a space, a communal space, where people can come and just be. Whether it's to go look at, appreciate the art, whether it's to have a drink or a glass of wine, whether it's to, sweat it out with a little bit of yoga. But it's a place where people congregate, almost kind of a cool clubhouse kind of feel to it. So, but that's outside looking in. I don't know what your vision was or is, but it's fun.
It is, and it figuring out how to make sense of art and yoga together. We've had to do a lot of contemplating and thinking about that, and really it was kind of like an epiphany. It's like, actually, these really go together a lot more than you would think.
Sure.
So with art, and as with yoga, it's beautiful in a way that you can have two different types of people that would get along nowhere, okay? Completely opposite in every way possible, but they can walk in and they can see a piece of artwork that maybe they both like. And they can find similarities and unities through that. It's like, okay, well, you both like this. Why do you like it? Why do you like it? And then you start to see that you have more in common than you think. So there's that. But then yoga as well, it's the same concept. You can have two different people as I said before, that have nothing in common and do not get along, but you can go through a yoga flow and you're doing the same thing and you're breathing together and you're moving together, and that's beautiful. You can create an energetic network between the two of you, and you become one.
Well, there's an art and a discipline to both. By the way, I've done yoga twice in my life. One was on a retreat for a professional organization, a part of YPO. So my form group went. We had our lady to teach us how to do it. It was the hardest damn thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, so you watch it on TV and it looks effortless, right? It's beautiful, the movements, the breathing. Oh my God, it is nothing at all like that when you're experiencing it for the first time. So
I'll agree.
right?
You're exactly right.
So how did you end up going down that road? I mean, I guess tennis, I guess some of the athleticism and your past and whatnot, but it's a real discipline. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Yeah, gosh, I've been doing it for so long. I'm trying to think like how, okay, so I started when I was around 18, 19. When I was in college, and I had really bad anxiety. I still do. So, it's an ongoing thing. It's not like you do yoga and it goes away.
Right.
But the thing is becoming aware and learning how to deal with it and noticing when it pops up.
Yeah.
And how to manage it. So I started because of anxiety, and I continued, and I felt something that nothing else gave me. I mean, I had the discipline of always being an athlete, and I had the breathing of being on the swim team, and like I had all these elements, but putting it all together was just like mind altering.
Right.
So but then you have to be fully present. That's whenever you can really start to relax into the poses and you feel your body, and it makes you more in tune. So it was just very it's an ongoing practice.
Well, I can tell you, I never found the relaxation moment, and so maybe I'll try it a third time, see what happens.
And the beautiful thing is the students, I mean, we're all students, but the students of Willow Tree, the people that I teach, the yogis, the ones that have like the OM membership, which is the 1-year auto draft, I've come to notice in the past year, people that have that in the 6-month auto draft, they're more consistent, and I have seen their practice completely develop. And I hear them talk about getting releases and active poses that they never felt before, and their eyes just light up. And it's just, I don't know how to explain it, because this is kind of new to me to be seeing this. I mean, right. I see people progress in certain poses, but to just see this unmentionable, they look relaxed, they look like they're at peace, they look like they're in the present moment, and it's beautiful. So once you develop the habit and the awareness and the breathing, and
right.
with yoga, I want to create a whole yoga, holistic wellness, therapeutic type center. And I believe a city that is on the rise deserves both of those things from the ground up. It doesn't deserve it after everybody else is here because it's the thing to do. People deserve it and need to learn with it and grow with it from the ground up. So I think that is the importance of both of them.
So you find folks from Rocky Mount really embracing the Art Center? Have you found it, has that been something that is growing, or is that something that there was a sort of pent-up desire for in the community?
I think that there's a lot of talent here, and there are a lot of wonderful artists, and that is why we want this space. We want to allow them to have a place to showcase their artwork and their talents. I think it is important to educate people on artwork. That is why we have bios and descriptions of each gallery artist in there. We encourage the studio artists to be there, so if people come by and they look at their artwork, they can have this conversation, they can learn more. That's powerful. Most of our clientele are out-of-town people.
Okay. So out of town, how far? Is it a radius? How are they finding
People
Rocky
from
Mountain?
I-95, 64.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Really?
It's perfect. So we have, I mean, past 2 weekends, we've had groups from Raleigh come in because they've heard about us.
Sure.
So that's powerful.
Sure it is.
We do put our stuff in the rest stops, and Nash County Tourism, Barbara, has been amazing.
Good.
So that has helped get the word out. And yeah, we have, I mean, the furthest person we've had is Australia. We have a lot of people from New York, Texas, California, like Florida, of course. I mean, everywhere.
Look, what have I not asked that I should have asked that you feel like you ought to share? Because I've enjoyed this conversation, the journey about how you got here. Love the concept. Love what you're doing down there.
Thank you.
I've been a patron. I may even try yoga before it's over with. We'll see.
Think you should. I think you should.
That'll be a comedy routine.
Especially, well, with everything that you're doing, I think it would be a beautiful balance. So.
Balance and beauty are not necessarily two words that
You'd
people
be
use
surprised.
in conjunction with me. It's
No,
been a long
no.
time, but
Give yourself some credit.
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I think, huge shout out to our studio artists. They, they're diligent in their passion, and I find that very inspirational.
Good.
It's very beautiful. So huge shout out to them because they are why we are here.
Right.
And, I appreciate you and your team doing this. I mean, this is what matters in a community, and the fact that you care to take your time to do this is very, I respect you for it.
Well, thank you. Well, I appreciate that. It is important to me because I am entrepreneurial, and that is what
So you understand.
I do understand. I have started businesses with literally nothing. I have bought some that exist. I've been through many iterations, and I certainly understand what it's like to feel like you don't necessarily have a safety net. And then, while it's not entirely true, it certainly does put a crimp in what your lifestyle could be, right? And so, and then you have COVID hit, and we have what I believe is a burgeoning downtown sitting on just the cusp of great things. But small shops and COVID are not good partners. And so the idea is, how do you create awareness for folks? Because there's still a marketplace out there for these things. But, the notion of let me just go stroll around downtown
Right.
is not something that we think of, when we're trying to socially distance. I
Yeah.
may go for a specific reason. And that's one thing. So it's very important to me that people hear, understand, see, and we can support each other in every way we can. Everything at the end of the day is about relationship, and it is about, that's how you build communities, and that's where the fabric of that comes from. And the only way I know to learn things and to get to know folks is just to talk to folks.
Yeah. I
And
mean, you're
listen.
exactly right. That listening is the main part. We need more listening,
Right.
and we need more openness.